It is a Monday. We are live in Los Angeles. It's The Hurt. Wherever you may be and however you may be listening, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1. Joy Taylor is joining me on a Monday. Now we're getting some clarity. Now we kind of can see the haves and the have-nots. Injuries taking a toll on some of the better teams. Joy, how are you?
I'm great. I love the Suns team.
Oh, the fans, it's a story.
It is.
The veteran
so
I'm going to babysit the kids a little bit. Now, they'll get tired of him. Remember, kids don't want to be babysat once they're 17, 18.
A few more years. Let's do some winning first before we get tired of the situation. But, yeah, if you don't have a team in the playoffs right now, I don't know how you don't just jump on the Suns bandwagon.
They're so much fun.
I don't know if I've been invited, but I'm there.
All right. So let's start with this. I got a bunch of kids, right? And a couple of them are getting close to entering the workforce, getting jobs and entering the workforce. And what's very important, and Uncle Colin, Dad, stepdad tells them, who, where, what? Ask yourself. Who are you? Want to be a good coworker, a trustable coworker, a friend, an ally? Who are you? Establish that. Who are you in the company? Where? Where will you flourish? In a social environment? In a cubicle by yourself? West Coast, East Coast, close to family, on your own? Where will you flourish? What? What do you see yourself becoming in 10 years? What would you be proud of? What's a goal you can pursue? Who, where, what? Basketball players should think about this too. Let's talk Chris Paul, my MVP. His who has always been incredibly strong. Defiant, tough, defends, leads, barks. Wake Forest, all of his stops. He's got one of the strongest who's in the NBA. Who is important? It's your foundation. Where? Chris Paul. Well, this where's been in flux. He's been on 5 teams. But he flourishes with young players who are talented but want to be led. He's not as good with veterans. What? Now that's interesting. We've argued for years about what he is, and those of us, me, have been arguing probably the second best point guard ever. But he's not vertical and flashy and fun. Now you are seeing indisputably what he is. He is the most valuable player in this league. Once LeBron got out of his prime, he affects winning and losing, and that to me is value. And the media often loves Westbrook and Iverson and D. Rose and John Wall and fast and vertical and fun and flashy. That is not what the point guard position is about. It's about elevating others beyond yourself. That's why Magic Johnson's the greatest point guard ever. And I'd make a strong argument Chris Paul is second. And Chris Paul's sense of who, where, what, who is so strong, and this is important in life, that as the game has changed, he has tweaked it, but he has not fallen prey to the current analytic whims. Unlike Giannis, who's now firing up three-pointers, Chris Paul shoots a mid-range, mostly from the right side of the key. It is who he is. He still barks. He still yells. He still commands. He still defends. Although he's not as good a defender as he once was, he's still tough. His who is so strong that it's overcome a lot of the wheres. He's been all over the league. And as the game has changed, what he has become is actually more valuable because he knows what he is. And Phoenix is perfect because for the first time in his career, the who, where, what, the chakras, they all aligned. His who is strong. He's working with a coach that'll listen and young players that will follow. And what he's become, side by side with the MVP Jokic, it's not even close. One is controlling the clock. Chris Paul is not only averaging 25 points and 5 rebounds and 10 assists and virtually no turnovers. He's shooting 100% from the line, 75% from threes, 63% from field goals. It's insane. Coach of the Denver Nuggets summed it up accurately on Chris Paul.
You have to give them a lot of credit. They're a very well-coached team, and they have a lot of talent. Chris Paul could arguably be the greatest point guard of all time. And you know what? You're having Devin Booker, just a professional bucket getter. So they're going to be a tough out. So you have to tip your cap to them.
And what I tell my kids or stepkids on the who, the where, the what, it will not be easy. My who was very weak when I was young. My where has been, as you know, with my career, in flux. My what was always strong. I knew what I wanted to be. But it wasn't until I had kids, my who was the strongest of the three. They created clarity on who I really was. My where, I'm finally happy. And my what, and this is what I do, I talk. But Chris Paul, my journey has not been easy. Chris Paul, and this is what I tell kids, it ain't easy. It's hard. The stronger the who is, the easier the where and the what become. Here's Chris Paul.
I wasn't this phenom. I wasn't necessarily supposed to be here. I played 2 years of JV basketball. You know, it ain't always been, sweet for me. I've always had to grind, and I like that mentality. And that's always been who I've been, and I'm gonna stay that way. If you like it, cool. If you don't, it's cool too.
This is who I am. It's always been a strength. All right, let's talk the fragile Brooklyn Nets. I'm gonna quit predicting the Bucks Nets series. I think I've whiffed 4 different times. We said last week the Brooklyn Nets have become Tesla. Brilliant, revolutionary. Oh boy, but Elon Musk running the show, you're not sure what they are day to day. This is what Brooklyn is, fragile. Kyrie Irving, he's hurt again. Kevin Durant, now frustrated, he's the only star left. Blake Griffin, Steve Nash isn't playing him enough. And Harden, I don't know. Does anybody know? I said this when he left Steph Curry. It's funny about the NBA. LeBron and KD keep moving around the NBA trying to find the perfect spot. And it's like it doesn't exist. When you're as great as KD and you're as great as LeBron James, you're not going to find your equal. LeBron, D-Wade got old, and Cleveland's owner couldn't get him any good players, and then Kyrie bailed on him, and J.R. Smith drove him nuts, and now Anthony Davis isn't healthy, and Kevin Durant wasn't the man in Oklahoma City, and I'm going to go to Golden State, and he wasn't quite the man there because it's kind of Steph's culture and Steph's team, and now he goes out to Brooklyn with stars, and they're all hurt. You can run, you can't hide. KD and LeBron are bouncing around trying to find the perfect solution, and it's really not there. But I said when he left Golden State, I said be very careful because Steph Curry is probably the most selfless, egoless, emotionally dependable star in the league. Kyrie's gifted, but he's not that. You don't quite know what you're getting day to day with Kyrie and the way he feels and Kyrie and his body. And so this is a sort of what it was going to eventually be, which is a bunch of dudes, really talented, look like the world's best basketball team for the first 2 games, and then KD is essentially now on his own. The most valuable teammate for Kevin Durant this morning is the Nets training staff. Fragile. Fingers crossed. Harden's hammy,